have to let her go. I have to let her go. I can't hold on to her anymore. You were once the star athlete, the beauty queen, the corporate hotshot, the mother who needed to be everywhere, responsible for everyone at the PTO, always needed the great student, the popular girl, the smart one, the funny one, honor roll student, always surrounded by friends, the hotshot lawyer. Now, people meet me, gray hair, older, softer figure, not making great achievements, not as polished and elite, if that's the right word. The persona I spent so many years building is now a stranger to the people who didn't know me back then. Have you also struggled letting her go? Yet you know in your gut, your heart tells you, that's not me anymore. Here's how I'm taking my past, letting it go, and creating the midlife version of me that the old me would be jealous of. Okay, maybe not. These 4 steps helped me move forward with the person I'm becoming instead of mourning the person I left behind. Number 1. What do you care about now? Not 10 years ago, not what you should care about. You see, we spend decades building something, and we judge everything today based on those values we had back then. But measuring your life today based on past values, that causes disappointment. That results in focusing on things I didn't achieve. That results in focusing on what's missing, time wasted. But that's just because you did not update the software in your brain to judge things based on your values today. The old me, I valued achievements, promotions, prestigious accolades like magna cum laude and managing director titles, being pretty and skinny, being admired, having lots of friends. Those were my values. But when you focus on what you value today, you'll realize these are not things you valued yesterday. So that requires a whole new conditioning of how we judge our life now. So write down what you value today, not what you should value, not what society tells you should value, not what you've built a lifetime towards. What do you actually value now? What at the core makes you feel good, happy, inspired, at peace? For me, now, my core values: teaching and sharing my wisdom, health and strength. I value freedom, and my peace. Now that you have your core values today, measure and think of everything in terms of your new values. You'll find everything you have is aligned to what you care about now. So when regret creeps in, I should have taken that Paris job, I shouldn't have stayed in that marriage so long, I should have pursued that business, that voice in your head, it's just lagging behind. You've changed, but you didn't mark the change in your brain. You didn't anchor your new identity, your new values to how you judge things. So part of me still measures success with this broken ruler. I find myself judging my life now based on those values I had then. Of course, that's going to create discontent and anxiety. But when I think of my life now in terms of my new values, everything is aligned. When you let your new values surface, regret fades, because the life you're living now, it's not a consolation prize. It's the result of decades of growth. I didn't fail, I evolved. And that's the point. Last month, I saw an old colleague's post on LinkedIn about a big promotion. My heart sank for a second. I got that pang like, oh, I could have been doing that. But when I brought myself back to my current values, health, freedom, teaching, wisdom, I realized that job wouldn't fit my life now. That shift brought instant peace. What are your values today? Number 2. What gifts can you bring to the world now? Name 3 gifts you can bring to the world now. I bet you your younger self could not give those things to the world. Mine, to be straight up and honest with my wisdom. My other one is the ability to listen without fixing, without judging. So pause the video or write in the comments, what are the 3 gifts you bring to the world? When you remind yourself of your gifts that are the accumulations of the first half of our life, you realize you are perfect and complete. So when you see something on social media, like a gorgeous woman who's super young, or you subconsciously feel like you're not the hot one anymore, or you see some glamorous family vacationing on a private yacht and you think, damn, I didn't succeed like they did. Remind yourself of these amazing gifts you have to share with the world. Quickly you realize that is the whole point. All other insecurities and regrets fade away. Number 3, focus on progress over your lifetime, not your absolute position, not your absolute achievements. Instead, track your personal growth over time. Thinking what I achieved leaves me thinking what else I could have done, what was left unsaid. There is always more. No matter what the past would have been, there could always be more. But when you look at the progress you've made over decades and decades of your life, you instantly become so proud. So think, how have you grown? What battles you've survived since you've been 20? For me, I overcame crippling self-doubt, the thoughts that I was not smart enough. I overcame fear of corporate America and rich people and people who were senior to me. When you think of the way you've grown, that is the major achievement, not anything that you didn't do in life otherwise. The younger me thought life was like this ladder to climb. Now I know it's more like a river. I'm not aiming for one fixed spot. I'm flowing and adapting and carving new paths, having new experiences. Number 4, set being goals instead of doing goals. Youth is all about doing goals. Get the raise, get the promotion, buy a house, have a child, move to a neighborhood with a good school system, buy a car, start a business. For sure, we still have tons of doing goals. We should, we can, we will. Replace some of our doing goals with just being goals. One is chasing achievements. The other one is just a state of mind. My old goal, buy a home in an area with a great school district. Now, be happy and content no matter where I am. What are your being goals? Whereas before, I valued achievement, now I value freedom. Before, I was able to offer fun Lena. Now, I offer wisdom Lena. Before, I measured accomplishments, and now I measure progress. Before, I had things to do. Now, I have the person I want to be. A few months ago, while I was organizing my house, my son just moved back home and it's a mess, so I had this terrible urge to organize. I found my memory box and I used to throw all sorts of things in there that I just wanted to have for the future. Photos, awards. I found this program from a conference that I co-chaired that hosted all these hotshot private equity and hedge fund people. I found these photos where I was so skinny and young and, dare I say, pretty. For a second, I got this like pang in my stomach, like, oh my God, it was so important back then. Now I'm just here in my sweats and my gray hair organizing. I just had this feeling of regret and a little bit of sadness. Then I remembered exactly how I felt most nights when I came home from work, exhausted, like I was performing a version of myself I had outgrown, anxiety about my looks, even though I was skinny back then, never thinking my body was right enough. I closed the box. I sat on the floor and I thought, what if I don't want to be her anymore? What if it's time to stop chasing her and start becoming someone new? That memory box full of photos and reminders of who I was, she wasn't the destination, she was just the launching pad. I don't need the high heels, the sharp suit, or the accolades anymore. Now, I want mornings that start with peace, not pressure. I want to feel alive, not admired. I bumped into an old work colleague at the nail salon, and I hadn't seen her in years, and she blinked like, wow, I don't recognize you. I didn't have my sleek bun, and I didn't have my polished suit. And she asked, so what are you doing now? I got that pang in my stomach, like, I don't really have anything so hotshot to tell her. I panicked. I was like, I'm figuring it out. Inside, I wondered if that answer made me feel weak or lazy or not important or not interesting or irrelevant. But here's what I realized since that day at the nail salon. I'm figuring it out wasn't a throwaway answer. It was the beginning of telling the truth. It means I stopped trying to be the woman I used to be, and I started building the version I actually want to become now. That's what midlife is. Not a loss of identity, but an invitation to finally choose the life that's fully mine. And if that makes me unrecognizable to people from my past, good. Because I did not come this far to stay the same. So no, I'm not who I used to be. And that's the whole point. Who are you becoming now?